Welcome to Game Nation. As always, I'm Russell Pierce, and to the right of me, the face to my plasma grenade, Brian Bernardi.
Yeah. Target practice once again.
So, I just like to make these things up on this. I actually had no idea I was doing the intro today. I just made it up in the last 5 seconds.
Oh, like I said, you always do the intro better than I do. My intros are just usually generic and bland. You bring a little bit more flair to the intro.
Well, I am one for the. I have a flair for the dramatic.
And you're sporting the flair today. My God, you are so pink.
I am very pink.
You're like got pink shirt. You're not wearing your pink shoes, unfortunately.
I know my pink shoes. I love those pink shoes. I just ordered pink boxing gloves.
Yeah. I'm just gonna start calling you Steve Buscemi. Seriously, I'm just gonna start calling you Steve Buscemi.
I wouldn't mind. Steve Buscemi's a funny guy.
He is a funny guy and a fireman.
He's a fireman?
He was a New York fireman.
I did not know that. He doesn't look like one.
Well, he doesn't make it public. You kind of gotta go digging for that.
Well, Shaquille O'Neal was a cop. Miami.
I'll believe that.
Yeah, he was a cop in Miami.
I'll believe that. I'll believe that just as well as like Steven Seagal was a cop in New Orleans.
Well,
or Louisiana.
Well, Shaq never made it public, and he also only collected $1 a year from the police department. So it wasn't like he just did it because he wanted to be a cop. He didn't really do it for like money or fame or anything.
Yeah, well, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Now, originally we were gonna just go with. I thought this was gonna be a really slow week after getting out of E3.
Yeah, so did I. I thought we were gonna have to go stock topic, start talking about some sort of crappy thing. The wheel. Actually, that's a good idea. We should make that. The wheel of stock. We should make that.
We should definitely make that. The wheel of stock, and I'm not talking about stock as an investment. Stock as in just generic topics to talk about.
Don't get me started on stock investments.
No, I am no investor. But however, talking about stock, do you know whose stock really rose on Friday?
I'm going to assume that it's Microsoft.
Well, Microsoft stock probably did rise, but GameStop stopped as well. And here's the reason why.
Oh, yes, of course, GameStop.
Well, literally yesterday, Microsoft announced a complete and utter drop of every single DRM policy they had on the Xbox One. And my friend Dave, our friend Dave sent us the link, and I was like, it's not loading. Giant Bomb was the website that broke the story first. Excuse me.
Yeah, I had issues loading it at first too.
I had issues loading it, so and as soon as other sites started breaking the story, the traffic kind of dimmed a little bit and spread out more evenly. But still, I tried getting on Microsoft's website, that thing crashed instant. Microsoft posted the story, but I was
really gives me confidence in their servers, might I add.
Well, when you talk about this news creates,
yeah,
and not just for the gaming journalists, but the informed minority and all that crap.
All that crap. The informed minority is crap.
Well, pretty much, this is a letter Don Matrick, who is the senior executive over at Microsoft in their Xbox division.
Yes.
Pretty much summed up everything they're going to do with the policies. This is strictly from his press release. So today I am announcing the following changes to Xbox One and how you can play, share, lend, and resell your games exactly as you do today on the Xbox 360. First off, an internet connection will no longer be required to be checked every 24
hours.
Once every 24 hours. It will only be checked once, and that is during the initial setup of the system to make sure that you get your Xbox Live going, your Gold membership if you apply for various other things, and to also, if you decide to digitally download your games, it'll make sure it has that internet connection. And that's after a one-time system setup. You can play any disk-based game without even connecting online again. There is no 24-hour connection requirement, and you can take your Xbox One anywhere you want and play your games just like on Xbox 360. You can trade in, lend, resell, gift, and rent disc-based games just like you do today. There will be no limitations to using and sharing games. It will work just as it does today on Xbox 360. In addition to buying a disc-based game from a retailer, you can also digitally download games from Xbox Live on day of release. If you choose to download your games, you will be able to play them offline just like you do today. Xbox One games will be playable on any Xbox One console, and there will be no region locking now. So, with this news, Russ, what do you think? I want to hear your thoughts first before I give mine.
Well, this was necessary. This really was necessary. Basically what they're just doing is backtracking is an easy word to use, an easy term to use, but I wouldn't even call it backtracking. They're folding to the pressure. Is what's happening. Is they're folding to the pressure. First of all, what was it? It was like 8-1. Sony was.
Yeah, right now as of at last listing, the ratio of reserves in comparison to PS4 and Xbox One were 8-1. It was actually so bad that GameStop actually closed out. They dropped the reserves for Xbox One because they were getting so bad. I don't know if GameStop reopened those reserves lately. I haven't heard anything.
They probably did. I have an article here for stuff.
Yeah, I got an article about that, but that article was released way before this announcement.
Yeah, I might not even read it. But basically, the way that I'm looking at this is this was a necessary thing. Sony was positioned they were positioned to run, a stock car race with a funny car. Like, seriously, like this thing, they were just going to blow them out of the water, like, right off the gate.
Yeah.
And Microsoft had no choice but to appease the masses. And whether this is too little too late or, what's going to come of it, that's kind of... That's
the big question I have. I kind of saw this, Microsoft did fall into the pressure of, the consumers, the retailers, the people like Redbox and GameFly.
Yeah.
They really caved in under the pressure from all those various mediums.
Mm-hmm.
And Microsoft pretty much said, you know what? Here's an olive branch. We're dropping every single DRM policy.
They extended the olive branch.
They extended the olive branch, dropped every single DRM policy. And now the big question is, do the consumers accept this olive branch open-handedly and say, "Oh, we love you now, Microsoft," or are they still going to be very hesitant?
I'm not sure. I think this will bode well for the uninformed minority, the majority of people who just want to play games. This will bode well for them in that market, but I really, really think that they lost the hardcore gaming scene.
Well, definitely. The hardcore gamers, I think, are going to be a bit more hesitant to reserve the Xbox One now or even get it.
My question is right here is, do they need to make any alterations to the hardware to do any of this? Because if that's the case, what if that may push back the
I don't think so.
The date.
I think from a hardware standpoint, they may push the date in terms of their release schedule. It may possibly do that, but I don't think so from a hardware standpoint. I think more so from a software and firmware standpoint, where if this stuff was programmed into the system already in the operating system, they pretty much have to go back and reprogram the entire thing. Now, I'm no software engineer, so
we all know that one. We all know that one.
Yes. So I personally do not know the turnaround time on reprogramming software. I mean, it could be a simple thing that you could get done in a few months or a few weeks, months, or maybe this may see a push till past this holiday season, which gives Sony complete and utter dominance during this holiday season. And if any of you guys listening right now want to join in on this discussion, give your opinions, our chat room is open for you to just get in, join the chat, give us your opinions there. And of course, you can phone into the show. It's a very quick toll-free number. It's 347-327-9451. You can get onto our Twitter at Game Nation Radio. Give us your opinion there. Or our Facebook, Game Nation Radio. Give your opinion there. We'll read it on the air. See what you guys think. Because this is literally the biggest news to have come out in the gaming industry this entire year.
Yeah.
This trumps the system announcements. This trumps everything we've seen at E3. This trumps everything.
Oh yeah, definitely. But basically, that's one thing is I'm concerned for Microsoft in a sense now if they have to push this back and they come out 2 months later,
Well, because Microsoft right now was expecting a November release.
And I'm sure that Sony wasn't planning to wait much longer after that. I'm sure that they were they seem like they're ready to go just as much as Microsoft is. So they probably were looking at a relatively similar release date. So if this pushes Microsoft behind Sony, that's a huge issue for Microsoft. Because now the cheaper, like, one thing is, if you're the more expensive system but you're the first one to come out, you still have that capitalizing on being the first.
Yeah, you still have, like, in terms of, like, number of units sold, you still have that lead.
Yeah, I'm not even talking about number of units. If somebody's not really sure, on the fence about it, and they're not really sure which one they want, they're probably going to get the one that comes out first, more often than not, because it'll capture their attention first.
Yeah, like right now, like with the current DRM policies, I was like in my mind as just like from a consumer and gaming standpoint, I was dead set on not buying the Xbox One anytime soon. But since they dropped this, my opinion on do I get it now or later has dwindled a little bit. I still intend on getting the PS4 first, mainly because of the fact that it's $100 cheaper and it saves me money, and I kind of lean more towards Sony than I do Microsoft. So I'm going to wait. But even then, I may not even get it during launch.
I'm not getting it during launch. Whoa, did I scare you? You just jumped.
No, I'm so big that I sometimes shift out of my seat and I have to adjust my seating position sometimes.
But yeah, I'm definitely not buying either system at launch. With the last generation proved that no matter how well designed the system is, there's going to be bugs at the beginning of everything. I'm going to wait. Also, from what I've been hearing, the Sony might not even be like they might sell out their entire stock. I'm hearing that.
The Sony reserves are so high right now that Sony is pretty much predicting that they may not have enough systems made to meet the demand of the initial launch day. It
may take them a week or two to get out enough.
Maybe longer, depending on how many reserves we're talking about.
If they know they're not going to meet the number, they're going to have to continue producing after the fact. So they're not going to be able to they're not going to be able to. We had one guest for a second. They're not going to be able to just stop producing the systems because they're going to have to fill those. That's a separate PR nightmare that would be a huge issue if people can't. I mean, it creates that demand, but part of that is like you don't want to make people wait too long.
No, and right now we still are uncertain on what games both systems launch lineups would be. I mean, am I happy that Microsoft dropped the DRM thing? Definitely, hell yeah, because I didn't want to pay for a license. I mean, granted, PC gamers have to kind of deal with that now through like services like Steam and Impulse.
But that's a computer. It's supposed to be connected to the internet all the time.
Right.
So it's not. That's not an issue to do internet DRM checks on a computer because you're supposed to be connected.
Yeah, because you have to get patches, updates for the operating system and stuff like that.
But not for a home console. There's a lot of people in the world who aren't interested in online gaming. So
myself included.
So this is a win. But there is actually a slight issue with this, and I have the article right in front of me, and that is that because of the dropping of the cloud-based technologies.
Well, no, they're still implementing the cloud-based technology in terms of processing.
Some of the cloud-based technology,
right.
Not all of them. But basically, the Xbox One will no longer have the family game sharing feature, which is that you can designate 10 family members' accounts, all of whom would have full access to that player's game library. So, for instance, if I was to download Mirror's Edge 2, and I can identify 10 family members that could use it. I'm assuming that has nothing to do with in-house. I think that was. I
think that was implied to be like.
Yeah, it was anywhere.
Close friends or like.
Yeah.
Actual like.
And that basically that was said by Mark Whitten, VP of Xbox Live. He clarified by Kotaku that there's a few things we won't be able to deliver as a result of the DRM policy changes, and this creates kind of an interesting little thing. Whereas it is a net gain, that all these DRM things are gone now. It is now. There are some losses here, though.
Yeah,
it's not without losing some of its better features.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, now this is the thing: is anybody who now was sitting there with this calamity to get rid of this DRM stuff, get rid of these used game policies, don't complain that the family game. The family gaming cloud is now gone. Do not complain because you asked for it.
Like, you asked for the removal of the DRM, and like some things had to go with that because they were interconnected in some way, shape, or form in terms of the software.
Yes, exactly. It was built into the DRM software, basically.
So with that being and I remember I was watching a video recently online that one of the guys was ranting about this, and he was saying that you may go, if you go onto forums or stuff like that, like Reddit, NeoGAF. I hate using them as an example because they're not even a gaming website, but 4chan or various gaming website stuff on their forums. You may see people say "Oh, it's our fault that that some of this stuff was lost." Well, yeah, you are kind of right, but at the same time, if you're blaming us for the removal of something bad. What?
Well, no, I mean, like I said, it's a net gain. What I mean by that is, overall, if you include the losses and the wins here, there's many more wins than losses.
Oh yeah, it's like that in actual war.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have losses no matter what.
Yeah, but I mean, for every one, if this is the only main loss, the only huge loss that they have, it's going to be, not that big of a deal. There's going to be a lot of people who are still very happy, and also with the ability to now share your game, your disc-based games. It might not even notice.
It's just a couple bucks, right?
Well, I'm not buying an Xbox anyway. I never have, and I never will. So
you have always been.
Somebody bought me an Xbox for $100 when they were or $150 when they went really cheap. I never purchased. I've been a Sony guy since the PlayStation 1, and so I'm sticking with Sony. But
I'm gonna get both because I'm kind of like that middle of the road gamer. You know what? I like having every system, but I'm not gonna get it all in one foul swoop. I'll get the last system I got was the Wii because I'm not that big of a Nintendo guy as I used to. The last big Nintendo system I loved was
I loved the GameCube actually.
GameCube was a fine system, but that's kind of where my love for Nintendo started to deter, and I was starting to go more hardcore into Sony and as I'm going to start calling it now, Xbox Prime, because that just sounds like an awesome name.
Xbox Prime.
Xbox Prime.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
That's an awesome name. We're going to stick with calling
that.
The very first Xbox Prime.
That actually probably should have been what they called this one. To be honest with you, Xbox Prime would have been pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool, but
it also wouldn't have made any sense. But basically, there's going to be a lot of talk here with all of this. I'm not sure how it's going to really work out, but I'm sure it'll be fine.
But yeah, and speaking of other system issues, Sony kind of had a couple issues themselves already this week as well. Sony recently released a patch update for the PS3.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I just downloaded it.
They probably did. You get any issues?
It was a system update. I didn't get any issues, but I've been hearing there's been issues.
Yeah, a lot of people have been getting issues where the most recent patch, 4.45 patch, was causing. They may have fixed it by now, but at the time it came out, it was causing a lot of the systems to pretty much become a paperweight.
Yeah.
A lot of things that were happening was it would constantly be in an infinite loop during the system's boot up, because during the ribbon screen, from what I've been reading.
I didn't get that problem.
Right. So a lot of people have been getting that. Sony addressed the fact that said, hey, we're fixing it. But this kind of goes back to that time where Sony got hacked. But
the only issue I encountered was I was downloading XCOM, Enemy Unknown, because I the PC version. It's just my laptop's just not working anymore.
Old freezy.
But the basically, so I was like, it's a turn-based. I could play it. You could play this on a system, no problem, and it won't be a huge. It won't be a drop off.
I think the game pretty much plays the same on console to PC, although it is more so a PC-based game.
Yeah, but you can still play it either way.
Yeah, I guess.
So I downloaded it, and the only problem I encountered was that my download in the background, that was missing, and I had to cancel download because I was not sitting there for an hour.
And in other Sony news, I don't have an article on it, but I was watching a Sony promotional video where they pretty much showed kind of like how the user interface on the PS4 would look like. And some of the features you saw was like, of course, the social networking, the downloading in the background. One of the cool things about downloading in the background, they kind of used Killzone as an example.
Yeah.
They kind of give you the option. I don't know if the third parties will utilize this, but the first party developers may utilize this if they implement it. The option to download either only the single player portion of a game or the multiplayer portion of a game.
What do you mean?
Let's say you pay the price for the game. At any point, it's like, oh, I just want the game for the multiplayer. Well, then, or either they do it at like a discount price.
Yeah.
You have the option to just download the multiplayer portion of the game and
I see what you're saying.
Multiplayer.
I see what you're saying.
Or just a single player at any point in time, and it doesn't like ruin the system or anything.
I guess that could just having like for instance, if you take a game like Gears of War, which a lot of people don't even play the single
single player. Who plays a single player?
Exactly. Or no one plays the campaign mode. They just go on and they play online. I guess that could make sense. Just download the.
It's a really cool feature. Like whether the third parties utilize this feature or not is up to them. But like imagine something like Call of Duty, which is one of the most widely played multiplayer games on the consoles this past generation. Mm-hmm. If they had something like that, that'd be pretty cool. I mean, let's say they decided to say, okay, you can download the whole game for $60 or just the multiplayer portion for $30. Like, are they going to see a hit in their profits? Maybe, maybe not. I don't think so.
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not.
Because they're like, especially if they're, since that's pretty much what they concentrate all their money on anyway.
Yeah, I mean, look at the current trend of multiplayer first-person shooters. You have Destiny coming out, which is mostly multiplayer, I think.
It's only multiplayer.
Yeah, it's only multiplayer, so you got that coming out in the next year or so. You have, an entire change in how games are going to be played now. That's what I love about this generation. Not the graphical update, because there's not that big of a graphics jump. It's how the game
the graphics jump is only, like, if we set the value from PS2 to PS3, like that generation to the PS3 generation.
PS2 to PS3 in terms of like
the graphical jump. If we set that as a 1, like a 1-to-1 rate, like a unit as 1, then the graphic jump for this is probably like a half unit.
Right.
It's not quite as big.
Because it was a huge jump from standard definition, low end graphics engines to the high end graphics engines we use today.
Oh yeah. Speaking of which, did you hear that that the final game of a generation will be made? The final game that will ever be produced for the PS2 is going to be made. It's going to be FIFA 14.
Wait. They're still making PS2 games?
I was shocked too when I read this. I could not believe it. I was like, wow, I didn't even know they were still making these. But apparently they
goes to show how much attention we pay to the PS2 now.
Well, yeah. Well, I think that it was mostly for non-United States markets.
Probably.
That's what I'm assuming. But basically, the way I'm looking at it is that we just probably didn't even notice it.
More than likely.
But that's a little interesting tidbit of information. That the final game that will ever be made for the PS2 is being made. So that is the
final nail in the PS2's life cycle. The PS2.
The final nail in the life cycle. You just drive nails into people's life cycles, do we?
Depends on the person.
Okay.
Depends on the person, whether I like them or not.
But that's a little
speaking of, tidbit. Like, you know what, though? Like, I hate to go into, like, deviate, but we kind of got to go into film a little bit.
What the?
Did you hear about James Gandolfini?
Yeah, I'm actually, like, I'm going to go out on my public forum right here that I have, and I'm going to say I'm sick of people getting sad about celebrity deaths.
Okay.
You know, it just, the person had no connection to me. I'm not gonna be sad. Yeah, I like The Sopranos. Awesome.
Good TV show. I just said good movie. That was probably because it was...
now I can guarantee you there will never be that Sopranos movie they've been talking about for years now.
No.
I mean, but the irony of him dying in Italy, though, is kind of funny.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah. I'll give a slight chuckle to that.
I don't know.
It's kind of dark humor, irony, but...
No, I'm just not really, like, I never really get sad when celebrities die. Because I have no connection to them as a person. Yeah, I like their work, but that doesn't mean, you know.
Like, if you knew him personally, then you'd be like, yeah, I'm actually now quite sad.
Yeah, exactly. If I knew him personally, like, if we hung out on weekends and had barbecues and stuff, you know, like, then I'd be sad. But it's like, you know, I haven't seen him in anything for years. I don't have any connection to this person. I'm not going to, like, weep, you know.
You know what, though?
It sucks for his family, but...
Yeah, I mean, like, that's the end of that, like, deviation. We got more stories to talk about, a lot to talk about. In a half hour, Dave's going to be coming on, because he's got a big story in the world of esports this week.
Yes. Every time you say esports, I've noticed you rub your hands together.
I like esports.
Okay.
I mean, would you rather me just scream, esports, into the mic?
Yeah, sure, why not? But I actually have the article here about the, I just uncovered it from my pile. That yes, they are not sure whether or not GameStop is committed to purchase every single PS4 unit that Sony is willing to provide them, and they're not sure if they're going to be able to meet the demands of the initial launch.
That just goes to show at this point right now, like Sony may get Microsoft may get a huge jump now with announcing the DRM dropping, but right now Sony is just ahead of the ball game and pretty much. Based on reserves alone, I'm gonna call them that they own this holiday season.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I actually well, basically the way that it works, if your initial launch is better than your competitor, you just stay ahead of them forever. There's like no way to really
not necessarily
in consoles. That yes.
Well, pretty much everyone's saying that Microsoft won this generation.
This past generation. Well, I mean, if you count the Wii.
PS4 went out first, so they had its.
No, it didn't.
I thought.
No, the Xbox 360 came out almost like it was before.
Was it really?
Yes, it was. It came out almost a year before.
I don't remember.
It came out. Yeah, it came out a while before it.
Speaking of time, remember that game Quantum Break we saw at E3?
Yes, the one that we were utterly confused by.
I got more info on it.
Good. Let me know.
We recently got more info about the storyline. So pretty much the style of the game, it's going to be an action shooter with time manipulation mechanics.
Just like we predicted.
Yeah. There's going to be 3 playable characters. Their names are Jack Joyce, Beth Wilder, and you may actually be able to play as the game's villain. Paul. I forget his. Paul Serene.
Evil Paul.
Evil Paul. We're going to call him Evil Paul now. And pretty much the basis of the game is each of these 3 individuals has time manipulation powers in some way, shape, or form. Like, they kind of went into more detail about Paul's manipulation in that he can kind of glimpse into the future timelines of, like, what's going to go on in the game. And it actually gives the player the ability to choose the timeline that you want to go. Now, that seems like a really, really cool feature to utilize in the game. And I want to know how well they utilize that. Because let's say there's, like, is there going to be permadeath for some of these characters? Can you do, like, a massive screw-up and it affects you either right then and there or later on in the game and you not even realize it? This is, like, time manipulation in storyline is so confusing because some writers don't know how to do it.
Time manipulation is just confusing in general.
Yeah, it is. God damn you, time travel. Why you gotta be so confusing? Why you gotta create grandfather paradoxes and, like, do the nasty and the passy?
Oh, my God,
Damn
Brian.
Futurama.
Brian, shut up.
No.
Shut up.
But other things is, like, of course, this game is going to be connected to, like, a TV show.
I'm going to go back and be his own grandfather. Oh, my God.
Hey, you know what, though? That fixed a good amount of plot holes in Futurama.
You know,
but they created more. But Like, this game is going to be a lot connected to a TV show, and when the game launches...
So much like the Defiance.
Yeah, much like Defiance, but unlike Defiance, the game's going to be launched with the first season in the same box.
Okay.
Because some of the things you do in the game can affect how the TV show progresses.
Okay.
So it's the same as Defiance, and I love this correlation between various other forms of media outside of, like, oh, okay, like, you're about to go see this movie? Play this game, which takes place before the movie, which gives you a little bit more information to get into the movie.
Now,
and not be utterly confused.
Let's see how well it's done, though, because, I mean, as we know with TV and movie games...
Well, this is the same company that did Alan Wake.
Alan Wake was kind of a disappointment. Coming from a person who is an avid survival horror fan, Alan Wake was a bit of a disappointment. It could have been scarier. It could have been better. And it was, of course, this isn't a survival horror game, but
this is an action
shooter. But it was sort of disappointing.
And in regards to the TV show may give you some clues as to how to play through the game, actually. So vice versa, it's like if you watch the show, you're like, oh wait, you know what? I don't know how to solve this puzzle, but the TV show kind of gave me a clue on how to solve it.
It seems like a very ambitious idea, and I actually hope it works well for them. Because that would be a really cool thing if it could be a new, almost like a new subgenre of entertainment, like an integration of video game and TV, because it's already kind of going that way. But it would be a pretty cool thing if that could go well. It's going to be rough, and a lot of companies will fail and fall flat on their face trying to do it. But if there's a good start to it, because Defiance apparently is doing a pretty good job.
It is. I still have yet to sit down to play it. I know a couple people have played it, Dave being one of them, and said, oh, it's a pretty good game, but I just never got a chance to download it, sit down.
I actually read that the players, the best players of the game are starting to make their way into the show. I didn't read the article fully. I wasn't sure if they were actually bringing the people who played the game onto the show, or if they were
No, I don't think
characters.
they're bringing the people who played the game onto the show, because for all we know, they themselves don't look anything like their characters.
But the ideas for the characters are being brought on.
Yeah, like the concept the characters themselves, maybe the physical appearance of the characters.
Yeah, perhaps.
Various things like that, and that's a pretty cool thing. I love the fact that they're intertwining this. Maybe they'll do it in movies too.
Maybe it could happen.
knows?
I mean, movie games have been traditionally terrible, so.
They have been. There are like 2 or 3 exceptions to the rule.
Yeah, very
Riddick
few.
being one of them.
Yeah, it's one of the very few.
Chronicles of Riddick being one. Yeah, that's about it.
Well, but it definitely has been. That if this turns out to be good, that's a plus in the Xbox column.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, like I said, they're still having this. Obviously, they're having this PR nightmare. They're having a lot of trouble fighting upstream. In fact, even they're even getting legislative implications from the government about their.
Don't we just love legal issues?
Yeah, basically, another article recently came out. It's the We Are Watching You Act proposed by Representative Michael Capuano from Massachusetts. He's from Massachusetts. I don't know exactly. And Walter Jones from North Carolina would place restrictions on technology that monitors, records the data of American citizens, i.e., the Kinect Eye. Hardware like Kinect would be required to provide users to opt out or opt in, to have opt out or opt in messages, and a warning whenever it began recording data. Microsoft would also require to inform users how data is being collected and who could potentially see it. This was a problem I actually said, if you recall, early when we started talking about this stuff.
Yeah, because we were just hearing about the NSA's connection to like all the viewing sites and all that stuff.
And Microsoft has confirmed that the Xbox One Kinect can be turned off. The passage of this legislation would be probably still to throw a few wrenches at Microsoft's plans. Since that's somewhat connected to the DRM, but it's almost its own independent thing. It's like, it's kind of it's another problem that they're going to be encountering, and you never want to have legislative problems with a new product.
No, like before the product even launches, the government is like, Yeah, we need you to change something. So this may cause further delays in Microsoft's launch of the Xbox One.
Yes. The Xbox One.
I want to try and create a logo.
Seki's Bucks Juan Valdez.
Yes, I kind of want to try and create a logo where the Xbox symbol is like the bottom of it is like a mustache and the top is just wearing a sombrero. I kind of want that logo now.
Because that's not racist in the slightest. That's not discriminatory.
It's kind of funny though.
You're a terrible human being. You're just terrible, Brian.
I'm not a terrible human being. I am a nice man.
No, you're not. You're an obvious racist.
I am not racist.
You're being very racist.
I am not. I'm being funny. There's a difference.
Yeah. Funny because you don't realize how racist you are.
You know what though? This week we got a slew of legal issues, don't we?
Actually, let's hold up on the legal issues. You know what we should do?
What?
We actually have 2 reviews this week. Let's bust those up a little bit. Let's do one right now.
All right.
I feel like doing a review.
All right.
Let's start with State of Decay.
State of Decay. Okay. Obviously, everyone knows the State of Decay. It's an Xbox Live arcade game. And right now, it holds the privilege of being the highest selling, fastest selling, and most profitable game on the Xbox Live Arcade of all time.
Yeah, I think it was.
No Xbox Live Arcade game has sold more units than
What was the number?
I don't remember the number.
Started out, it was like 20 million really quick.
It was like 20 million within the first, I want to say 48, maybe 72 hours.
It was within the first week. Let's just put it that way. 20 million units sold. That's very fast for a game like that.
Xbox Live Arcade game, for an indie developed game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this game is pretty fun. The way this game works, it's very survival horror. This is going to be a very survival horror-esque review episode because we have State of Decay right now.
And Last of Us later.
Last of Us later. But State of Decay, I downloaded the game, played it. I thoroughly enjoyed the game. The fun things about the game is the characters you play as, there is legit permadeath in this game. So if your character's dead, they're dead.
Yeah.
So if you get your entire party killed, that's your fault.
Well, whose fault would it be?
Well, it's either yours or Stoop or the AI, which is kind of glitchy some points in this game.
Oh yeah.
The AI, I originally wanted to give this game a 4 out of 5, but I sat down and replayed the game a little bit more, and I started noticing the problems of it better. There are some graphical glitches. The graphics aren't as pretty, but then again, I have to take into the fact that this is a very indie developed game, so you're not talking about a 20, 30 man crew developing a game. You're talking about maybe
4 people.
Half a dozen to a dozen guys developing this game in their garage or something.
Yeah, their own little studio.
Their own little studio making this game, so...
Stop checking your phone.
I'm not checking my phone. My phone is... I'm making sure it's on silent. Anyway, you're making me get off sidetracked, but...
You sidetracked yourself.
Shush! So, what I was saying...
I get no respect. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what I deal with. I tell
him mixed with Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah, I have no respect. I get no respect. Anyway, go on.
So there are some graphical problems, but I have to state the fact that this is an indie developed game. There is no sandbox mode. However, it is coming. The developers have stated that they are working on a sandbox mode for this game, so you are pretty much tied to the game's story, which is not that bad. You're in the middle of the zombie apocalypse. It's 2 weeks in. You just came out from, you and your buddy just came out of a fishing trip. There's zombies everywhere. You meet this small group of people in a ranger station. And from there, it introduces you to the basic mechanics of the combat, the melee, the shooting.
Which is really good. The best way to think of this is it's almost like GTA and Zombieland.
It is. It's a mix of GTA with Zombieland minus the over-the-topness and the Zombieland style of humor. There's not much humor. There's no shooting Bill Murray in this game.
Yeah, but Bill Murray. But Garfield maybe. But yeah, I think it's a really good game for what you pay for it and what it's $20. $20. It's a great value. I had a complaint that you can only have one file.
Yeah.
I wish that you could have more than one, because you might make your decisions slightly differently. You might want to see what multiple having to start over completely.
Yeah, that kind of kills it.
It's kind of annoying.
Also, right now the game is not on any of the other consoles.
Well, I think Microsoft has basically a.
Microsoft has the rights to it because they were the publisher, they were the distributor for the game.
I mean, eventually it might make its way to the PC.
The developers have said that it's going to be coming to the PC soon.
Yes.
And they said pretty much that it's going to be distributed through Steam on the PC.
That's good.
So you Steam players out there, just wait. State of Decay is coming to you, and I think the game will be a lot more fun on PC because hopefully by then they'll also have a multiplayer set up for it, so you can play with your friends in a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, that was another issue I had.
That was another thing. Like, there was no multiplayer in the game, and I downloaded the game specifically for the fact that, I'd be able to go online and play with, like, friends or total strangers and see how well we can survive a zombie apocalypse together.
I wouldn't want to survive.
It would totally ruin everyone else's lives.
I would not want to try and survive a zombie apocalypse with Brian. I would actually anybody who watches The Walking Dead out there, I would totally Shane him. I would shoot him in the leg while he was following me.
Whereas I would, on the other hand, would be like, I can't name a character because no character would be like this, but I feel like I'd be the kind of guy where if you are immediately bitten, I don't care how long it takes you to turn. You're getting a shotgun to the face right after getting bit.
Yeah, Brian would just if you coughed wrong, Brian would just kill you.
Zombie! Boom!
Yeah. I just coughed.
I just got zombie! Straight to the face.
Garfield, maybe.
Exactly.
But
I would be like Jesse Eisenberg in Zombieland, where the minute I see a zombie or a potential zombie, you get shot.
I'd rather be Jesse Eisenberg in The Social Network.
Socially awkward genius?
Socially awkward billionaire genius? Yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah, that is a pretty good thing.
Yeah, but
so if I were to, based on all the pros and the cons of State of Decay, like I said, I originally wanted to give this game a 4 out of 5 because it is a really fun game. You really have to manage your resources very carefully to upgrade your safe house. Ammo is so scarce in this game. Oh my God, it is so hard to find ammo in this game.
But you can find melee weapons like they're nobody's business though.
Yeah, melee weapons are everywhere. Like you can improvise. You can even, and also the cars are very few and far between. So you gotta be smart on how often and when to use your cars, because the sound does attract zombie hordes and stuff like that.
When I was playing my file, I was playing on Brian. I was playing on Brian, and I was just kind of walking. I just got swarmed out of nowhere from three different locations.
You got 30, 40 zombies on you, and you were literally in the first 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah, I had to start over. But I didn't even have weapons or anything. I did a pretty good job of fighting them off. For a while, but then there just became too many.
Yeah, then they just...
In fact, I'm going to go back and play it again. I mean, I really enjoyed it, too. From what I've seen and what I've played, and what little I've played, but what I've seen, I do like it.
I do like it, too. I personally would give it a 3 out of 5.
I would have to agree with you there. 3 out of 5 is very fair. It's not the greatest game you ever played, and it doesn't try to be.
But it's one of the better games to get if you are either tight on money, you want a new game to play because you're either bored or there's nothing really interesting out there.
Yeah.
So for $20, it's an amazing game.
Yeah, and also on top of that, I mean, if you're a zombie fan or a survival horror fan, this is really up your alley too. It's a game. I mean, like I said, it doesn't.
Also,
it's not the.
Hold my thought.
Yeah, it's not the greatest game in the world. It doesn't try to be, but it's also really good for value. The only thing, there are some glitches, like we said. I mean, but it's totally worth it out there. I mean, 3 out of 5 for quality, but 5 out of 5 for price.
Oh yeah,
it
is by far the best bang for your buck for an Xbox Live Arcade game. Like I said, it's not on PC right now. It's eventually going to come to PC. If you want to get into a really, my recommendation, if you want a really good zombie survival horror game that's not like Left 4 Dead or something stupid like that.
Did you just call Left 4 Dead stupid? I should kill you.
I did not call Left 4 Dead.
I should kill you for even you mentioning Left 4 Dead and stupid in the same breath. Left 4 Dead 2, I'll give you some lenience. Left 4 Dead 1 was a perfect game. Okay? That, if we had to do a review on Left 4 Dead 1, it was a 5 out of 5, and you cannot mention stupid in the same sentence as that.
All right. But like I was saying, if you're not a fan of any game that's kind of like in that style of like Left 4 Dead or in those same vein of games, you have a mod for Arma 2 called DayZ, which is an amazing mod. I've not played it myself, but I watched Let's Plays of it. It's an amazing mod. You just have to download Arma 2 for it through Steam and then download the mod. So it's a little bit more work and a bit pricier to get. But you pretty much get the same feel and style State of Decay kind of is, except instead of being a third-person action survival game, it's a first-person perspective. So it's a first-person shooter with zombies.
Yes.
But like I said, eventually we'll hopefully see multiplayer implementation in this game soon. We will definitely see a sandbox mode where you don't have to deal with the story. It's just survive, build, and kill zombies.
Well, that would be more. It wouldn't be so much sandbox mode. That would be more like that'd be like almost like a tower defense mode. If you think about it, if it's hordes and zombies, that'd be more like tower defense than.
Well, the zombies don't necessarily attack your home base, but it's survival in the sense of like you gotta ration your resources very carefully.
Yeah, definitely.
This is definitely one of the more fun games I've played in a long time.
Yeah, definitely. But but
that's our review for Last of Us. Later in the episode.
No, not Last of Us.
Not Last of Us. Okay, close.
They're very similar.
They're very similar games in their style and presentation, but two totally different different games altogether. One is zombies, the other is fungus.
Evil fungus.
But other than that, like into other game news there's a little bit more detail on Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah.
Like a friend of mine who's a huge Kingdom Hearts fan pretty much explained like the plot synopsis of Kingdom Hearts after Kingdom Hearts 2, what games I should watch and like either watch or play and what to avoid. And he pretty much said only two games. Dream Drop Distance and Birth by Sleep. Those are the only two games he said to really play or go online and watch Let's Plays of them to really understand what the heck is going on in between 2 and 3. Because the plot will continue on for Kingdom Hearts 3 from Dream Drop Distance. And Nomura, who's the director of Kingdom Hearts, has pretty much said this is the final Kingdom Hearts game in the Dark Seeker saga that began with the original Kingdom Hearts. So we're seeing the end of this storyline. Maybe not the universe as a whole, but this storyline that started in Kingdom Hearts 1 and went, like, God knows how long.
I'm just going to leave you to this one because I don't really follow Kingdom Hearts.
Okay, so pretty much the gameplay style of Kingdom Hearts 3 is definitely going to maintain that three-person style. However, NPCs and other characters may join in the fight in each individual world, resulting in really flashy and exciting action. So you may see a lot more gameplay, a lot more action going on the screen, which may cause it to be a bit more hectic. We kind of saw the trailer. And also, you can kind of use some of the enemies as, like, mounts to further enhance the combat. We kind of saw an example of that in the Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer with Sora jumping onto a cloud of Heartless and kind of riding it along like on a surfboard.
Hardness, as you called it during our Xbox special.
Yes, the hardness.
Our Xbox,
they are not the Heartless anymore. They are the Hardness.
The Hardness.
The Hardness. And the team has spent a long time trying to decide how to make best use of the next-gen console's graphical capabilities. So you are going to definitely see a drastic art style change in comparison to, say, Dream Drop Distance, Birth by Sleep, and Kingdom Hearts 2 and Kingdom Hearts 1. So the art style is going to be a little bit different. How much different, we'll find out when the game gets a little bit more gameplay footage, a little bit more trailers out there.
Which I'm expecting all the gameplay footage to be next E3.
I agree. Next E3, but he's kind of said that they'll show a little bit more at Tokyo Game Show later in the year. So we may.
So when's the Tokyo Game Show again? The TGS is like October.
I want to say TGS is in like the beginning, like early fall, late summer, early fall window. I don't know the exact date.
We might be able to do another special for that one even.
We may, depending on how much news there goes on, because that's definitely one of the biggest.
That's the biggest non-American
games show. Like the big ones that a lot of people follow are PAX, E3, and Tokyo Game Show. Those are like the big 3 game conferences.
Yeah, definitely.
And we are definitely going to try and get into like we're going to try to get to PAX Prime, which is going to be a little harder to do. The easier one would probably be PAX East.
Yeah, it's only a 5-hour drive for us. PAX Prime is across the country.
Across the North Continental United States.
Yeah, so we're not
all the way in Seattle.
Yeah. And you know, there's just so much to do in Seattle.
No, there isn't.
Exactly.
I've been there before. Personally, I find it to be boring. I'm sorry if my brother-in-law is listening who has family in there, but
in
the area, the only interesting thing I found in Seattle was the Boeing factory where they made the airplane.
The only thing that was interesting about my trip to Seattle was leaving Seattle.
No, it wasn't leaving Seattle. It was actually going to the Boeing aircraft station. But other than that, and you know what though? Sticking with E3, the Entertainment Software Association, who the company that runs E3, called the cops on Ouya. Because Ouya had their own like public booth outside and across the street from the convention center.
Yeah.
So Ouya called the cops on them. Like at first they restructured their permit structure and the zoning for other venues to use that location. So Ouya just purchased permits and moved. ESA got pissed at them, called the cops on them. Ouya showed the cops that they had the proper permits to be in that location. The cops thought nothing of it because if you have the permits, you're allowed to be in that location. There's nothing. The police's hands are tied because they have legal reasons to be there. But this kind of brings up the statement that the ESA don't like the Ouya. And recently, there was a story. I don't have the article. I should have printed the article. It's a funny story that the Ouya is being used to develop porn.
I don't even know what it is. What is the Ouya?
The Ouya is the company that's creating the Oculus Rift.
Oh, okay,
They're the company that does the Oculus Rift. So right now, the Oculus Rift is being used to develop porn.
Why?
Why not?
I guess.
That is the only reasoning I can give. Why not?
Well, basically, as time has gone on, whatever porn sides with makes money. Worked for VHS versus Betamax.
DVD versus Laserdisc.
DVD versus Laserdisc.
Blu-ray versus
HD DVD. Internet versus no internet. But I guess that was going to work anyway.
That was going to work either way. Everyone was like, this is great.
But yeah, that's actually like a legit...
Book versus video.
Yeah. But yeah, that's actually a legitimate thing. That's like a legitimate, like, when the porn industry decides what they're going to use, there's a jump in that media source. So it's always, and that's always how.
People say porn is bad for you.
Oh, it is on for certain things, but not for business.
No, for business it's
not bad for business.
For business, it makes you a metric ton of money.
Yes. But what else you got there, Brian?
Well, going back to the zombie theme real quick. You know The Walking Dead TV series, of course, but have you ever played the Walking Dead video game from Telltale?
Which one? Which one's that? Is that the one with the where you make decisions? It's not the Xbox one.
I'm not talking about the crappy one where you're playing as Norman Reedus.
Okay, yeah. So I played the
the crappy one.
I played the decision making one, which was really good.
Well, they announced new DLC for it a while back. It's called the 400 Days DLC, and it kind of bridges the gap between Season 1 and Season 2, because Telltale right now is working on Season 2. And we don't know when that's going to come out, but they pretty much said that some of this stuff like Season 1 may affect, your decisions from Season 1 may affect this game. Some of this game may affect your decisions in Season 2. But right now, like, there have been 4 titles announced so far. Day 2, Day 220, Day 184, and Day 236. So you talk about the first, and the DLC pretty much covers from various different perspectives. Like each episode introduces a whole new cast of characters at various points during the zombie apocalypse in the Walking Dead universe. So like you'll see like from the beginning, from like a year after it happens, midway through it happens. And you can, from what I've read, you can do this in any order you want. You don't have to start with Day 2 and go down the line. You can start from like Day 400 if they make it a Day 400 or something like that.
Well, I would think that they would make a Day 400 if that's the number they've already selected as the name.
And you know what? I'm actually excited for this.
I really enjoyed the Walking Dead game.
It was one of the very, very few games that tugged at my heartstrings.
Yeah, I actually like having to make decisions that actually affect the game. I don't like when a decision doesn't affect it. Like, a game that used to have decisions was Resident Evil 3, but all the decisions just led to the exact same ending.
So it did.
Yeah.
You know what was a really good one? It's kind of a Deus Ex was one of the really good ones.
Yeah, where decisions actually affect the storyline, and I like that.
Mass Effect was really big on that until the ending.
Yeah.
Until they Deus Ex the ending, where it was just A, B, or C.
So I do really like that they're doing this, and I hope that they continue making Walking Dead games, because what we've seen when other companies try, it's an atrocity.
Oh my God, it is a horrible, horrible atrocity. They might as well be tried for war crimes because their games are so bad.
Yeah, war crimes. And Norman Reedus.
As badass as he is in the Walking Dead series, you actually met him in person.
Yeah, Norman Reedus is a cool guy. He's a bit of a strange person. But he's basically, the way he talks, he doesn't play up his talking for he makes it a little more southern, but that's pretty much just how he talks.
Yeah.
He's Norman Reedus. What can I say? But the funny part is, when I went to go meet him at a convention, I got online. There was maybe like 8-9 people in front of me. This was before he was in Walking Dead. Or it was like as Walking Dead
was starting to get.
Yeah, it was starting to gain pop. It was like before Walking Dead really took off. It was the first season, so like it really didn't take off until the first season was done.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it took off.
Because of I want to say because of Netflix.
Netflix really helped, and Walking Dead really, really, really took off after the first season was done. I met him before the second season, and he was there was nobody on his line. I met him and Sean Patrick Flannery. For anybody who doesn't know who that is, they are the two Boondock Saints.
The Boondock Saints.
Sean Patrick Flannery still remains to be the coolest celebrity I ever met to this day. Nobody will ever top him. No one will ever top him.
Okay, I have to ask, why?
Why? Well, first of all, he's a jiu-jitsu black belt. We have pictures of me and him choking each other, which is great. He's just like the most awesome. Like, he is like a male power trip. Like, he's a male power fantasy, I should say. Sorry. He's a celebrity stock car driver. He was Indiana Jones. He was young Indiana Jones. Yes, he was. He was the young Indiana Jones.
You're talking about the TV series, right?
Yeah, the TV series.
I never watched that show.
Yeah, he was on that. I mean, he's a jiu-jitsu black belt. He's an overall badass. He's a Boondock Saint. He's just, stop hitting your pop guard, Brian. And he's just he's a really cool dude. And he could not have been nicer to his fans. That's
And you know what though? You know what's not nice?
What?
Lawsuits.
Yeah, so we should probably get Dave in here, I think.
Yeah, he should be getting on in a few minutes. We should be hearing him in the next 5 or 10 minutes from now.
Yeah, because he has.
Once he calls in, we the slew of legal issues continues to mount this week. We've got already we have the legislation. We have 2 lawsuits right now, and controversy in the world of esports.
Yes. So we're gonna cover some of these lawsuits in hopes that Dave will call in very soon, because he's got a big story in the world of esports.
Yeah, he's got a huge story. But while we're waiting on Dave, we'll cover one of the big ones that kind of threw me off the hook.
Yeah, was the Duke Nukem creators 3D Realms. I can't pronounce Realms, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, you know what? We're gonna hold off on that story because Dave is actually.
Oh, Dave's calling. Okay,
I'll right now actually. So we're gonna talk to Dave right now.
Hello.
Hey Dave, how's it going?
Hi guys.
How you doing, Dave?
About this? I'm pretty good. I just finished lunch.
We were actually waiting for you to call in because you were the one who told us about this story. So why don't you cover what's going on with this one?
Actually, I kind of missed this, but I think Ross told me about it, and I looked into it.
Actually, I was one.
Okay. Yep. In the world of esports in Dota 2, this player, Roxkiss Solo, was just found guilty of match fixing by the Star Ladder Association, and they have banned him and his entire team from their competition. They banned him permanently, and they banned his team Rockkiss for 3 years, I think, which basically means that he's done as a pro player, and his whole team actually might be done playing pro Dota.
For those who don't know what Dota is, it's Defender of the Ages. It was originally basically a mod for Warcraft 3 that's kind of taken off on its own. So
yeah, if you don't know what Dota is, I'd like to know what rock you've been living under, because since the rise of League of Legends, which is based really, really heavily off of Dota, I mean, I think anyone who plays League of Legends at least should know what Dota is.
Would you call League like the spiritual successor to Dota 1 before Dota 2 came out?
Yeah.
Some people might get mad at you for calling it that, but more or less. So
how do you match fix a online multiplayer game? Were they like setting up their own matches beforehand, or what were they doing?
There was an external betting site. I don't know if you guys know this, but there's actually quite a lot of internet betting that goes on over like esports stuff, because it's basically completely unregulated. So there's no like rules against it or laws concerning it like at all, really. So what happened was Rockkiss played this game, and people were like, "Hey, that's kind of fishy." And then it came out later that Solo had bet. It was for $100. It was only $100 he bet on this website, which I don't remember off the top of my head. I can look it up if you guys really care. But basically, he bet $100 against his team, and then they basically threw the game.
So basically, do you have any idea how much like Dota players get the professional teams get paid, like a general range?
I don't really know about Dota, but I know for StarCraft, basically the way it is if you're like the top, if you're like one of the top players that like everyone knows and you're like famous within the scene, you make a lot of money. Like there's this one guy, Korea Telecom Flash, and when he was playing Brood War, he's basically like the greatest StarCraft Brood War player of all time. And he was making the Korean, he's Korean, so he's getting paid in Korean currency, obviously, but he was making the equivalent of a six-figure salary to play StarCraft 1. But
wait, how many figures?
Six figures.
Damn. 6 figures. If you're the very best, you can make 6 figures. If you're not the very best, you basically don't make any money at all.
So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this guy was probably very concerned about his finances and probably wasn't making as much as he could have been making if he's only betting $100.
Yeah, and it's like it was a Russian team too, and Dota's really big in Russia, but there's also not really as much money in Russian esports as there is in American esports. There's less big companies that are interested in sponsoring teams and stuff like that. You don't really see teams sponsored by Russian companies. You know what I mean?
Like, did he get like a huge payout from this throwing of the game, or is it like?
No, dude. He made like $200 on the bet, and that's it. And then the betting website ratted him out to Star Ladder.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, hold on. I actually want to tell you, because this is not the first time that match fixing has scarred the face of esports. There's this player, again, in Brood War named Savior. And actually, Korea is one of the few, because esports is like such a big thing there, it's one of the few countries that actually, it has a branch of the Korean government that it's only for overseeing esports. I don't know if I've talked about them before on the show, but you guys might be familiar. I've referred to them as KESPA, right? The Korean Esports Association.
You've told us about them, yeah.
Yes, they're actually a branch of the Korean government, and they oversee sort of esports. So match fixing a Brood War match was actually against Korean law. So when Savior was found guilty of match fixing, he actually got 120 hours. This was in October of 2010. I'm reading off of Wikipedia, which is a great resource if you care about StarCraft. He got 120 hours community service and 2-year probation on a year jail sentence for match fixing.
Wow.
And what happened then in Brood War was there was basically like a ring of Brood War players. Let's see, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, looks like about 11 players. And it was like a betting ring between them. and they illegally fixed matches with each other, and I guess they bet by, again, online betting websites. It says they were approached by online betting websites and agreed to throw games for financial gain from the money the websites paid them or by betting against themselves. And that was actually against Korean law, and there was jail time that time. This time there's no jail time, but Solo and his team are probably done being professional Dota players.
It sounds about like that's what it's going to be.
So if I were to make a sports analogy here now,
I actually can make one very easily.
I can make one easily too. This is like the esports equivalent of the Black Sox scandal from the early 1920s World Series. I
was going to say Pete Rose, but you can go with that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I would say the Brood War like match fixing scandal is more like that. This is kind of more minor because like Dota's not as big of a scene, and obviously there's no sort of like legal ramifications for Solo or team. You know, it's just the tournament organization saying this is unacceptable and you can't play with us anymore.
So it's
but
more like
the Brood War scandal was definitely a huge big deal though.
Yeah, not being able to play anymore professionally is not a slap on the wrist, but it's not the worst possible thing either.
I mean he's not going to jail.
Yeah, not going to jail is good.
He's just
he hasn't been sentenced. He has not been sentenced to a minimum of 4 years at a federal pound you in the ass prison.
Well, like I said, Xavier, he got 120 hours community service and he got put on probation for 2 years on a 12-month jail sentence. So that's pretty. I mean, over a video game, that's a pretty big deal, Yeah.
Is there any further details before we kind of sit here and sort of analyze this for a little while, or?
Not really. I mean, it's always pretty terrible when you hear about match fixing in esports, and I mean, some people might not even realize that it's a big enough deal that there's actually betting and stuff going on like that. But it's it's just like anything else. If there's money to be made, people will find a way to cheat the system.
Money is closely followed by corruption.
Yep.
That's a fact of life, definitely.
Yeah. Well, Dave, we really appreciate you taking this time to inform us on exactly what was going on with this story. I mean, I did throw you the original story, but I knew if anybody would be able to uncover the details that were needed to actually talk about this.
Most of us, because while I kind of follow the esports scene, you follow it a lot more deeply than I do, so you'd be better understanding of it.
Yeah, so definitely, we really appreciate you uncovering these details, and we're going to analyze it now, and we'll talk to you later about it.
Yep. We'll see you around.
Guys.
All right?
Okay, see you later, Dave.
Enjoy your day. Take care. So, price fixing.
You mean
not price fixing, match fixing.
I mean, this is the kind of story that you hear about, and it seems small time. People go, oh, whatever, it was just a freaking game. But it is really the equivalency to, like you said, in baseball, the Black Sox scandal, or the Pete Rose, when Pete Rose bet. There's not so many legal ramifications here because it's unregulated. It's more of a there's
ethical?
Yeah, there's ethical ramifications for sure. And if you make your money on playing professional gaming, the last thing you want to do is not be a professional gamer anymore.
Yeah, I'm sure that, these guys are pissed that they got out of one of the bigger leagues that are out there for Dota 2.
And I have a feeling that not any other league is going to be looking at them now.
Oh no, this put a huge black mark on their team.
Yeah.
So all the other leagues are going to look at this and go, well, yeah, we would love for you to be in our league and play in our tournament. However, how can we be certain that you won't do the same thing in our league that you did in that league? So it's not an official blacklisting of this team, but it's definitely a huge smudge on their record.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah.
I mean, being in a legal battle is just terrible news. Especially we were about to talk before Dave called it. We were about.
Yeah, let's hold off on that for a minute.
You got something else to say about this, or?
Oh, I just want to say that I really it just seems stupid. If you have, a setup where you're making money off of something, don't go out there and screw it up. You know, this is a prime example of a total screw up where somebody goes out and, you know, tries to make more money unethically. Apparently Dave is now messaging us some more details. But basically that there is no reason to try to gain $200 when you probably would have made relatively the same amount
like,
for
over here,
winning.
that's kind of like a month's worth of gas money.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's even don't even like I mean like you know now he has.
I mean I agree with you. It's like it's a small amount, but it doesn't matter though. Like Dave is pretty much saying like on our chat board right now, it's like Rock Sisters Toast. They are banned for 3 years by Star Ladder, not a small organization, mind you. Banned by Join Dota, another large one, and Valve will not let them participate in the Invitational, which is pretty much the biggest Dota tournament. So yeah, they are pretty much blacklisted from Dota tournaments.
Yeah.
It's like the 3 biggest ones out there, according to what we've got from Dave. They are screwed royally.
Yeah, they might as well start looking for another job.
Yeah, like good job, guys. You screwed yourself over so bad that.
Well, I can see a couple of guys standing on the side, on like the side of a Russian road, holding a sign that says "We'll play Dota for food." You know, like you know, something like that. I really hope that it wasn't a. I really hope that they do have some sort of fallback because I mean people make mistakes and this is obviously just a stupid thing to do. But he didn't technically break the law. He broke an ethics code within the gaming community.
Yeah.
But he didn't break any laws. So if he completely if these people on this team do lose their livelihoods over this, it sucks. And I hope that they have something else.
I hope they have a
fallback.
plan B or something.
I hope they have a fallback, and this wasn't their only thing.
No, if this was their only thing, then yeah, they're screwed. But if they have the fallback, go to your fallback plan. Continue doing that. For one of them, he can't play Dota 2 anymore. He's banned for life. For the other ones, they just have to wait 3 years. Maybe they come back, either reform the team or join new teams and try to reclaim
lost glory.
The lost glory that they had because of this. All, might I add, over $200.
Yeah, $200.
$200. That's. I mean, yeah, like. Dave is, again, on our chat board saying, like, 3 years is forever in esports. So, like...
By the time that they get out of it, Dota will probably be cycled out of major...
Dota 2 will be cycled out. They'll probably be on Dota 3 or the next big thing.
Yeah. But that's all we really have to say about that topic, because...
There'll be more on this stuff, probably.
Yeah, we'll probably get Dave to do a little bit more research, or we won't even have to get him to. He's just going to do the research. That's just how Dave is. He's very needs to know updated stuff about esports. So yeah, we'll have our
esports correspondent.
Yeah, we'll have our. But now the story I was talking about is
3D Realms.
3D Realms
suing Gearbox.
Is suing Gearbox, yes, for unpaid royalties involving Duke Nukem. The studio that spent more than a decade on Duke Nukem Forever, or as I like to call it, Duke Nukem For Never.
Yeah.
But it came out, so it was just forever delayed. Is suing Gearbox Software, the company that sought the game rights and released a long-brewing sequel. In 2011, Apogee/3D Realms alleges that Gearbox has refused to pay more than $2 million owed to 3D Realms for royalties. $2 million.
That can't be right.
$2 million.
That is an exorbitant. Yeah.
$2
million.
Brian, I can read. Okay.
I'm sorry. That number just shocks me.
Brian, I'm way smarter than you. I can read. Come on.
Fine.
Okay. $2 million owed to 3D Realms from royalties and advance Gearbox received from. It was advances that Gearbox received from the publishers of 3D Realms of Duke Nukem Forever. In a lawsuit filed on June 7th in Texas District Court, so that was very recently.
Yeah, within the last.
It was 2 weeks ago. 3D Realms insists that the agreement with Gearbox permits its conduct and an audit of Gearbox's royalty statements. They basically want to know exactly where the money is that they're owed. And 3D Realms also alleges that Gearbox has refused to pay the agreed-upon portion of revenue Gearbox received from Duke Nukem Forever when it was released. The Gearbox suit contends that the additional revenue is in advance of the publisher that was paid for after the game was released. Basically, what this is translating into is someone just doesn't want to pay up. They had these rights. Their game flopped. They made no money, but they still are owed royalties. They still owe royalties out.
They still owe over 200 million. Not 200.
Not 200. 2 million. 2 million. They owe royalties, and they don't want to pay them, and probably because of the fact that the game made no money.
And this is the company that made Borderlands and Borderlands 2. So, like, those are the...
the company has money. But this is one of those things, it feels like they don't want to pay up on a diminishing investment. They just want to kind of forget about it, and, well, that's not how it works when you owe somebody $2 million. People don't just forget when you owe that much money. It's not like you loan $20 to somebody, and then you forget about it, and then they never pay you back, and you're okay.
Because it's $20.
It's $20.
But let's say it was something like, from our standpoint, let's say I gave you $200.
Yeah, $200. Yeah.
I'm going to remember that I gave you $200, and I'm going to constantly remind you, like, yo, you got my money? Where's my $200?
Exactly.
Hey, you owe me $200. It's been 5 years. Yeah. Where's my $200?
Yeah, and this is just going to be like, this is an issue. This is one of those legal issues that will be sorted out. I'm going to follow this as it goes through, see what ends up happening with the lawsuit. It's just a quick update, let people know that it's still not over for the Duke Nukem Forever crowd. Yeah.
David's bringing up something something similar like this happened a while back.
Where Brian didn't want to pay back $300.
I paid him back.
Yeah, because I twisted your arm until it almost broke off.
That's besides the point. I paid him back anyway.
But yeah.
But it wasn't 5 years. It was 6 months. Duke Nukem Forever came out
last year.
Duke Nukem Forever was last year?
It was either last year or the end of the year before.
I think it was 2 years ago.
Okay, they might have been.
The game came out, and we're talking about $2 million over the span of 2 years. Gearbox should just pay them.
Yeah.
They're not going to be hurting for the money after handing out that $2 million.
Yeah. I don't know. They might be. If they lost a lot of money on Duke Nukem, they might be.
Well, that's one time. Well, then again, they are dealing with...
And they're also dealing with
alien colonial marines.
They're also dealing with that flop. There's a lot going... Gearbox might be the next on the chopping block where people are going to be buying their properties if they keep flopping games like this.
Yeah.
So...
the only thing that's keeping them floating is probably the Borderlands franchise.
And that... Who knows how that's going to work out, But another...
There's more lawsuits.
There's more lawsuits. Assassin's Creed creator sues Ubisoft for control of his next game.
Yeah, we've been talking about this for a while, that Patrice Désilets has, this is the story of Patrice Désilets. Patrice Désilets worked for Ubisoft.
Yes.
Left Ubisoft on his own accord, went to THQ.
Mm-hmm.
THQ became dead.
THQ died.
THQ died. Patrice went back to Ubisoft, along with his title 1666.
Yes.
Which is probably still a project name right now.
Yeah, I don't think that doesn't sound like a game name.
No, and he was originally developing that for THQ before they flopped. So he brought himself and that over, and according to the contractual agreements that were already established, according to the THQ contract, he had rights over 1666. He held the rights. Ubisoft at this point was like, okay, welcome back to the fold. And as time went on, it was like, all right, we got to do cutbacks. That's a norm in any business now. You get cutbacks because of financial gains or losses and stuff like that. So they let Patrice go. However, Ubisoft kept 1666.
And now he is suing them for control of the game and $400,000 in what I'm assuming is damages.
Yeah, I think that was...
It doesn't specifically say here.
I think it goes further into the article. I remember reading it. It's $400,000 total. I think it was like $250,000
in salary. his base salary.
And his base salary.
$100,000 in moral. There you go. Moral damages.
Yeah.
And also seeks to ensure that I don't understand how that's whoever did that.
That could just be bad writing in the article.
Yeah, that's just bad math. That's probably supposed to read $150,000.
Yeah, I think it was $150,000 in moral damage.
Yeah, and seeks to enforce a clause in his contract with THQ that allows him the rights to acquire 1666 if it was canceled.
So yeah, pretty much and this is a big issue because this goes into contract disputes.
So yeah, basically, this is another one of those legal things that we don't have a lot of details on right now. Just getting the word out there. I really think he's going to win this. I personally think he's going to win.
Do you think he has enough credibility?
If they bought out his contract from THQ and the legal writing within the contract states that he can retain the rights to the game, and also if he can prove that he was unfairly, unjustly terminated for whatever reason, he can get. Basically, this will be a pseudo severance package for him. The damages, I don't think he might not get the $150,000 in damages, but I think he will get his $250,000 salary that he's owed, because that's probably legally obligated by Ubisoft, and he will probably so he's not going to get the maximum what he's seeking, but I will venture to guess. Now I'm very confident he'll get the $250,000 for his salary, and he will get the rights back to the game.
But not the $100,000.
He will not get. I don't think he'll get the damages, but honestly. And once you get $250,000 in the rights to the game, I think that's a win.
Yeah, I would definitely call that a win. The $150,000 is just I just want a little bit of extra just to.
Well, the damages. Usually, the way damages work is he's probably hoping that they'll just settle this out of court. So they'll probably pay. I mean, he wants $400,000. They'll probably say, "Here's your $250,000. Shut up about the extra $150,000," and you can. He's hoping that he can get the rights to the game. Whether or not Ubisoft wants to fight this is really where it goes. I venture to guess that since they are probably canceling the game, it seems like, from the reading, they probably don't care about the rights to it. So they'll probably give those up. And the money is, if he has if there's wording in his contract that legally binds them to that money, there's no reason for them not to settle outside of court.
Yeah.
The amount in legal fees would it would be terrible for Ubisoft.
Yeah, I don't see any issue here with the base covering his year's salary plus giving the rights back to him, because if he's legally obligated to own those rights, Ubisoft has no legal right.
Yeah, they have no grounds.
Legal grounds. Thank you to keep that from him.
Well, we'll see, and that's another story. We'll just have to wait and see.
We'll just have to wait and see. And pretty much the last story for the day before we get into our Last of Us review, which is my more exciting review, because I want to hear your thoughts on the game. I have my thoughts.
Okay.
A lot of people have been speculating right now that going into the new generation, you might see a rise in the pricing of the games. Like normally games now cost $60, $70 for each.
They were $50 before that in the previous generation, and then the previous generation before that they were $35.
But the jump in pricing made sense though, because
the technology.
The technology jumped, so the development costs go up. So
development costs are supposed to also come down eventually, and they never did. And that was
because companies are
greedy.
Yeah.
But basically the way it worked was PS2 era. At PS1 era, the games were like $35.
Give or take, yes.
Then they went up to $50 for PS2.
Mm-hmm.
Then they went up to $60 for PS3.
Now
I'm saying I'm just using that because this one is specifically about PS4, right?
Well, this is PS4 and this is specifically about Microsoft. But PS4 pretty much made a similar claim a couple months ago, back when they announced the PS4 initially in February, that a lot of people were speculating that you might see another $10 jump in the price of the games, which will bring most of the games, mainly on the Xbox One and PS4, to $70 for a game, which is still pretty expensive. But I think some people may be able to still afford it.
I don't think that if they were to raise the price, that might upset a lot of people.
I think
a lot of people already don't like $60 per game.
I personally don't. That's why I kind of. When I buy a new game, if I'm dead set on getting the game, I'll pay the $60. If I'm more hesitant,
I'll wait till it goes down to $40.
I'll wait till it comes out down to $40, or it goes into the used market for a cheaper price, and buy it then and play it then. But both companies pretty much made the claim that we're going to stick with the $60 price model right now. Now, whether this stays true or not, getting closer and closer to the launch remains to be seen. But if they were to stay at the $60 model, like, do you actually see development costs for some of these games going up with the new generation?
Well, I mean, first of all, the price of whatchamacallit, the
New?
No, limited editions have gone through the roof. I don't know what the hell people are thinking.
Oh my God, yeah, collector's editions, my God, have gone.
They used to be $10 to $20 more. Then I remember the first one that really got expensive was if you were that I purchased at least was Metal Gear Solid 4, which was a $90 game.
Well, what did you get in that?
And I got barely anything.
Yeah, so why raise the price? I mean, like, there was a story a couple months back when Grid 2 came out. There was a collector's edition for that game that cost $190,000.
And with that, you got a Formula One racer.
Yeah, so
a non-street legal car that you couldn't drive.
Who would pay that?
I'm sure there was a person who did it.
I'm sure there were too. But like, yeah, like the prices for collector's editions are pointless because, like, okay, I get collector's edition like, you know what? I'm going to use Halo 3 Legendary Edition.
Which you purchased.
I purchased like an idiot. That one gave you some really cool things. It gave you the art book, it gave you the game, it gave you a little helmet statue.
The statues are really what ups the price.
No, the statue was what upped the price. But you know what, though? That makes sense to up the price because you also have to cover the cost for manufacturing those little statues.
No, you don't. That helmet was made of plastic, and it wasn't. It didn't
even fit my head. It looked like it was designed for a cat.
Yeah, it was like, what the hell? But I've stopped buying collector's editions. I used to be a staunch collector's edition person. Unless the only reason I like collector's editions now is if it's just a steelbook edition, I prefer having the metal box for protection purposes. Other than that,
also sometimes they look really, really cool.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't buy them anymore. I wait until like a couple months in and the price drops $20.
Yeah, because the most often thing you get in a collector's edition is, oh great, I have the game. Art book.
Yeah, you get an art book, big deal, and a slightly different box. Like the box for Zone of the Enders collection, HD collection was so much cooler looking, but you also didn't get anything, and it was $20 more. And I could use that $20 for gas or food or anything, anything. And I've just gotten past the point where collector's editions don't matter to me anymore.
Yeah,
pricing is pricing is very important to me about games.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, because
I'm going to be spending $60. I want that game to last me
a couple days,
a few days, a few weeks, maybe a month,
depending on the game. I mean, how you played? Like you've obviously said, Fallout 3 was your favorite game. How much time did you spend on that game?
Total, easily 100 hours. I mean, that's multiple run-throughs.
I did the same thing with
I would say it's even more than that. I would say it's probably 200 to 300 hours.
Yeah, that's 200
over the course of 2 or 3 years. But I mean,
Yeah, like literally, because when I got Mass Effect 2, you guys didn't see me for 2 days, because like I said, I'm a power gamer. I literally just powered through the game.
Brian's more power gamer doesn't really work. That's not really I would say you're more of a grinder. That's more of a term for what you do. Because power gamer kind of it doesn't fit. It's I'd say grinder. You just kind of grind. Even if you're not enjoying it anymore, you just grind through the game.
I just grind through the game to just say, yeah, I beat it. I know what's going on. Did I like the game? No. I mean, there are some games where I just if I don't like it so much, I just put it down and don't even look at it anymore.
I kind of got like that with Remember Me. I stopped liking Remember Me. As I was playing it after we reviewed it, it just never got really better, and I just kind of stopped playing.
It stagnated.
Yeah, it stagnated. What I do is, and I have a problem with that, is I can't just grind through a game like that. I stop. What I do is, if I'm getting bored, I just turn it off.
You just turn it off and go.
Even if I only played for 20 minutes, if I'm I'm just kind of bored now, I turn it off. And then I'll come back maybe the next day, and maybe I'll play an hour or two, turn it off. I don't sit there and play.
You milk it out.
Last of Us, however, has been not that game for me.
Now let's get into that.
Since now we're here.
Now we're here. We're in our Last of Us review. Let's have you start.
Okay, The Last of Us. This game started out it started out slow. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, this isn't so good. I'm severely disappointed. But as it goes along, it picks up a lot of steam. You get really connected to these characters. A lot of the mechanics are really cool. Crafting system's pretty awesome. They could have done the stealth a little bit better. But the character and the story is what drives this. And it's not a lot for a game that clocks in at about 20 hours. There's not too much cutscene. It's about a 3-to-1 ratio of gameplay to cutscene. It's about 15 hours gameplay, about 5 hours cutscene, which isn't that bad for a 20-hour game.
Okay.
If you were to break that down, that would be, it's 3 to 1 ratio.
I kind of see the ratio.
Yeah. It's way better than a Kojima Fest where it's like a 3 to 1
3 minutes of gameplay, hour and a half of cutscene.
Yeah, it's a lot better than that.
Metal Gear Solid 5, you better not do that.
Yeah, but so Last of Us, I'm thoroughly enjoying. I have not beaten the game yet, but I'm about 3/4 of the way through it. I'm really loving it. The storyline just keeps getting better.
What's the base? Like, if you were to just give the basic storyline without any.
All right, the basic storyline is that there's an outbreak of mold fungal spores that cause people to basically lose their minds and become these essentially zombies. And there is a outbreak, and this guy, you play this guy Joel, and he has to escort this girl that may or may not be, we're not sure, immune to the outbreak. We're not. They don't confirm it. It's heavily implied, however, and that's early in the game. That's not a spoiler. That's like within the first 45 minutes.
I'm not going to explain how they figure this out, because that's actually pretty spoiler heavy and kind of creates this dichotomy between the characters.
Yeah, but basically, you travel through parts of the United States in a post-apocalyptica.
Mm-hmm. I think you start off in Boston and you work your way
around. Well, you start off in Texas technically, but you work your way to Boston, then you're in the South, and it's a lot of times they don't really tell you where you're located. You run into different characters as you go along. Every character you run into is different. They're not it's not like stock characters. I mean, some of them are sort of generic caricatures of human beings, but each character has its own personality and its own way of adding to your general knowledge of the situation. And it really, you can decide how you want to play this game. You can play it very stealthy, or you can play it just run and gun, but you better be really good at the run and gun, because a lot of the guns do not work that well on your targets. Mm-hmm. Much like in real life, if you don't hit somebody perfectly, it's not gonna,
Yeah,
but
they really designed the combat really well.
Yeah, and I don't really like the overemphasis on melee combat personally, but I can deal with it. If there's any issue that I have with this, it's that the villains do get a little repetitive, and it can be a little irritating to fight the same villains over again. There is a type of creature in it that's very extremely creepy, though, called clickers. I don't want to give too much away about them. They're just very creepy.
Well, you can pretty much give the basic.
Well, they're humans who have been exposed to the fungus so long that they've basically become living fungus.
Yeah.
I don't want to give away too much about them, but that's what I'll go with that.
I will tell you this, though. I'm at a point where, I'm starting to encounter the clickers, and it is a pain in the ass. Okay, at this point, if you were to give the game a final score...
it does have a few shortcomings, so I can't give it a perfect score of 5 of 5. A lot of people have been giving it 5s and 10s out there. I don't see a 5 or a 10 in this game. I see a 4. Okay. I really thoroughly enjoy this game. I want to keep playing it. I hope that the ending doesn't leave off where there can't be a sequel. But that's really, that's Naughty Dog is known to continue series for a while, and they're already talking about doing Uncharted 4, and this almost feels it's very similar to Uncharted in a post-apocalyptica, and that's
it really does.
Just to answer Dave's question, I am attached to Ellie. I still disliked the character Tess. Me and him had a huge argument about this, but we're not going to go into that right now. But basically I give it a 4.
Okay, so pretty much now this is where we kind of differ. Like, you kind of thought the beginning was a little bit slow. I kind of agree with you there. It was a bit slow in its pacing, but that just helped me set the entire mood and tone of the game. You are right. The biggest focus points for this game are the story and the characters. In terms of gameplay, I love the resource management system.
Yes, that's very good.
I love it to death because if you just waste your resources all willy-nilly, I'll find plenty more. You screw yourself over so hard.
It does.
If you don't strategically use your resources correctly.
I did say this when I was playing, and I've said it to several people, that the game does definitely reward astuteness and, patience. Mm-hmm. Because if you go through every building and every house and find every little thing, it's going to be good for you.
Right.
But there's a lot of people who are just going to run past a lot of things and not even realize it. At all times, I'm loaded on equipment. That comes from years of playing survival horror games. So.
You just already have that mentality.
I really do enjoy also the upgradable weapons. You upgrade your own weapons.
Yeah, you can upgrade your weapons. You can upgrade, it has RPG elements where you upgrade the health, the weapons, their ammo capacity, their fire rate. Similar
to Resident Evil 4. How you upgraded your weapons with that one. But with this, you can also, your melee weapons can be upgraded to add features to them, which is really cool. You can make, you take an iron pipe and he basically tapes scissors onto the end of it, so he creates a scissor iron pipe, which is really cool.
That actually does sound pretty cool.
You get nail bombs, you can create Molotov cocktails, and these are all based on the things you find as you go along. There's a certain number of things that you can make, but you also can upgrade those. They get better as time goes on for being astute and finding formulas within the game to make your Molotov cocktail or your smoke bomb better.
Or your health kits.
Or your health kits. If you're going to play this game, if you haven't played it already, if you're going to buy it and play it, be astute. Be very observing of your surroundings. That's the best way to play, best way to win this game.
Yes, whenever you get into a new room and you have a chance to, this is one of the things I do. If I enter a new area and there aren't any enemies in the area, or I know I'm not about to enter, a quick time, an event or something, I always take a minute while I have the time to breathe to search around the room for loot that I can use to make more shivs, more cocktails, more health kits, because, the one thing
you do not want to get caught without supplies.
No, you don't. I set a personal limitation on myself. I have tried, I'm going the more stealthy tactical route. Because
I'd switch between the two.
I'm a crappy shot in the game. I cannot aim for the life of me. I most of the time hit the arms or the legs.
Picking off people with headshots with a bow and arrow is awesome, though.
It is pretty fun. I've
upgraded my bow all the way, and now I'm headshotting everybody with my bow.
You're like Legolas in a
I'm Legolas in a zombie apocalypse.
Yes, and the one thing I loved was the opening sequence of the game. It opens. The game. This is not spoiler. This is literally the first 10-20 minutes of the game. The game opens up as the apocalypse about to happen. And you're not starting to play as Joel. You're starting to play as another character, which I won't say because that is spoiler heavy, and it completely explains why Joel the way he is later on in the game.
Yeah, it's very, very, very important that we don't tell you any of that stuff.
It doesn't, because it pretty much establishes his entire character. Yeah. His entire story.
It establishes the entire story of the game.
Yeah.
It really does. And not just him. Every character is affected by events of the first 10 to 15 minutes of the game. It does slow down after that, but it only slows down because of exposition purposes, really.
Yeah,
just to get you used to the mechanics.
It's got to explain the setting. It's got to explain like some of the characters you're about to introduce, the tutorial missions. That's why it's slow. But once you get past that point, the game just opens up, and it is one of the most beautiful looking games. I have to say the graphics in this game are amazing. But then again, Naughty Dog has been known to make amazing games.
Yes, I finally returned your copy of Uncharted 3.
I finally got my copy of Uncharted 3 back from him.
Oh, well, give your review.
If I were to give this, like, I'm going to disagree with you. I'm kind of going with the norm here.
Yeah.
I personally give this game a 5 out of 5. It is definitely by far one of the best games I have so far played all year. It is definitely going to be in my top 5 games of the year when we get to the end of the year.
I might still be in my top 5. It's just really hard to get a 5 out of me. That's all it is.
You're harder to please than
Yeah.
I. I'm very easy to please.
I'll just leave that alone.
Giggity. I'm kidding.
But other than that, I think.
Other than that, we pretty much covered everything. I mean, if you guys want to, like I said, we have announcements to make.
Oh yes.
We do have announcements to make. This is our last episode.
Ever.
No.
Oh.
No. We are not ending this show until I say we're ending this show.
And the show's over.
No, I'm kidding. We're actually moving to a new time slot. A new day and time slot. We were debating back and forth on whether we were going to do it a Saturday or a Sunday. And we were looking at the E3 numbers. And right now, we are pretty much dead set on a Saturday night episode. We're still doing the 2-week model right now. But you can now listen to our live broadcasts Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time till 10:30 p.m. Eastern
Till 10
Time.
to 10:30, depending on how far we go.
Exactly. So from now on, we're going to be on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. After this episode. So 2 weeks from now, our next episode will be in our new time slot Saturday. New update on the website. It's currently under construction. I've been talking to our web guy recently. We're currently working on it. So we'll have an update on when that's up. Other than that, if we have any other big announcements, we'll be posting it on our Facebook. We'll be posting it on our Twitter.
I'll be yelling from my front door.
He'll be yelling from his front door. I'll be yelling.
See, my neighbors hate that. I just go out. I'm just like, I took a dump, and they're like, what?
Who cares?
I make a lot of announcements that people don't want.
I scream through my window. But yeah, if we have any other announcements, any big announcements like that, we'll post them on our Twitter. You can follow the show. You can follow the show on Twitter at gamenationradio. You can follow me on Twitter at Brian Bernardi. Russ, where can they follow you on Twitter?
At Dark Hour X.
See, he has the cooler Twitter name. I am not that creative anymore.
Yeah, well, that's been my internet handle for like a decade. So
I would never give out my internet handle because my internet handle is stupid.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's pretty dumb.
Stupid.
It's pretty dumb.
It's pretty dumb. I'm not going to reveal it.
Well, you just gotta imagine Brian made it up when he was like
13,
12. So you can just go that route. I just happened to pick a really cool one that kind of followed me as I got older, and it still stayed cool. Brian picked something that was cool when he was 12, and it hasn't translated well.
It hasn't translated well. In fact, it's kind of gotten more and more pathetic as the years went on.
Just like him, ladies and gentlemen, just like him.
Yeah. Yeah, this is true. But like I said, you can follow the show on Twitter at gamenationradio. You can follow. Oh, one more announcement. We are currently working on our own YouTube page. So if you want to listen to these episodes via podcast and don't want to download them or listen to through Blog Talk, I'm going to repost all these episodes onto YouTube, and they all should be posted up within the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, and also we're going to be doing street interviews with me in front of the camera, Brian controlling the camera.
Yes.
Saving you guys some visual problems in there.
Russ is better looking in front of the camera than I am. I will admit that.
Brian is not a very presentable human being.
No.
Often I've shown up and he's just been wearing the same sweatpants for weeks on end.
You shall not pass!
But basically, We're gonna be doing that. Also, I'm thinking about when the I don't know if I'll be able to do this yet, but when the PS4, I'm definitely gonna start doing some Let's Plays soon.
Oh yeah, like we'll definitely.
Anybody who wants to listen to my Let's Plays, I'll be doing them. Probably survival horror games.
Probably survival horror games. I'll probably be doing Let's Plays as well. One of the commenters understood that reference. That you shall not pass reference with like I love it when someone gets our references.
Yes.
It's amazing. It gives me a little like
it warms the cockles of the heart.
Or maybe the subcockle area.
And maybe people will get that reference too. But anyway, that's the end of our show for today.
Oh, like I said, follow the show on Twitter, me at Brian Bernardi, Russ at Dark Hour X. The Facebook page is facebook.com/gamenationradio. If we have any more announcements, they'll be posted there like the minute we decide to make it. Check out our YouTube channel. It's Radio Game Nation. Like I said, the episodes will be up on there. It takes some time to upload onto YouTube, so all the episodes will be up on there in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Watch them on there. Wait for our Let's Plays when the new consoles come out. They're going to be exciting.
Mine will be. I don't know about Brian's.
Well, mine will be more old school games than the new school games. Like the first Let's Play I kind of want to do is an old PS2 game where Dave won't know exactly what PS2 game I know.
Jump on the head.
Jump on the head.
Jump on the head.
The very first Let's Play I plan to do will be Robot Alchemic Drive with some of the worst voice acting I have ever heard in a video game ever.
Okay, well, we're running out of time.
We are running out of time. So we'll see you guys next time. As always, Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Tune in live. Join the chat room. Call into the station. Email us at gamenationradio@gmail.com. I'm starting to lose breath as I talk.
Brian's going to pass out.
Take care, guys.